said peace to all the homies. Yeah, money was the motive.
Yes, indeed. We're back with another one. This is the Cheers to the Real podcast. I am Mr. Tom Brody. We're live with it. It's art, it's music, it's culture. Back with the Cheers to the Real podcast. I'm here with my brother, my day one. Wanted to bring him up. I'm going to let him introduce himself. My brother, introduce yourself to the people.
All right. If y'all don't know, it's me, the one and only Josh Masterson, the father of Earth Pioneers. You know what I mean? Shouting out to all my lost tribe out there.
Big facts, big facts.
PSYOP, you know what I mean? Creating your own path.
My brother got unique brand, a nice niche. Not to mention, he has some amazing clothing line. What you're doing, I wanted to bring you up. Most people know the show, the podcast itself, the brand is all about supporting like-minded. We support New York underground culture, and my brother right here is definitely about this New York underground culture. And, you know, wanted to bring him up. Want you to talk to the people, touch them, give them a little bio, a little breakdown of Earth Pioneers, the clothing brand, you know, who you are, and that little story right now.
All right, so Earth Pioneers, it's a brand that's dedicated to saluting those that came before us, paving the way. So, you know, and we also, battle cry is create your own path, because our ancestors all had their own path that they had to take. So we all celebrate that and, you know what I'm saying, salute everybody's struggles. And it's all about a collective uniqueness, if you will. So that's what it's all about for me. Like, all the clothes are, like, inspired by keeping things, like, last long and detail-orientated and, you know, just inspiration from, like, nature to...
Nice.
Again, the natives, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, all those that, like... I feel like the best quality came from back in like the 50s and stuff like that. So,
For
like,
sure.
you know, and of course, when we talk about natives, I'm talking about like Indians and things like that.
Right.
Things are made by hand is a certain type of aesthetic.
And now you're saying outdoors, Indians. So just to give people a little breakdown, a little concept of the brand itself, the concept behind the brand is outdoors, is more of you know, the whole tribalism of the outdoors. I think people that go camping and hiking, they understand it's a niche market,
Yes.
but it's also a unique space and market and community. They're very in touch, you know, to the earth, to the people. They appreciate the environment. But give people a little breakdown of that whole the niche within the niche and what the brand is about.
Because, like you said, it's like a whole community. Once you go into nature and you're with someone and you spend that time, it brings forth a whole different, how can I say, a whole different reality and a whole different outlook when you're out
Right.
there. So for you to be able to experience that, then you'll be able to understand what I say as unique collective.
Right.
So once you touch the earth and you're out there and you're living just by the means of what you have on your back and what you brought with you and what you know,
Right, for sure.
It changes everything.
For sure. And to give people just a little visual, because most people nowadays are visual. I see you know, you're wearing your actual brand that you created, that you designed. You want to show the people, give the people a little breakdown. I see you got the little spear, kind of symbolic of what the brand is also.
Yeah, also, you know what I'm saying, the first ways that we was able to hunt and do things like that. And, you know, it's all about showing where we coming from and stuff, you know. So all my brand is just, like I said, they showed the rock. You had to, you know what I mean, utilize that to break it down so it could be a weaponry so you could use for different things, shaving
Absolutely,
and
that's
everything.
dope.
So it's all about just showing like innovative ways that we manifest
For sure.
through nature, you know what I'm saying, and we utilize in everyday life and things.
So, you know, for conversation purposes, I see, you know, you're bringing up the outdoors, nature a lot. As a urban kid coming from Brooklyn, where does that aesthetic, where does that interest come from?
So, I say I was about 12 years old, and my uncle took me camping with like a bunch of cousins.
Mm.
And once I got that, like, I got that taste of the outdoors, it was like, this is real
Yeah, you
freedom.
get the bug. Yeah, you do get the bug.
Because when you're out, when you're in the hood, it's like, you just, you know, buildings, everything, you're trapped. But when you go outdoors, like, it's really like a whole different aspect. Like,
And I think that's the stereotype. I think there are people out there that have the stereotype that black and brown people probably don't go camping, don't enjoy the outdoors, maybe that they don't enjoy maybe going surfing or, you know, any of these extreme things that are associated with the outdoors. I think there's this misnomer that, you know, if you're from Brooklyn and you're raised in the projects, you may not enjoy going to, you know, on the Appalachia trails. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. Unfortunately, because you don't get the opportunity. Not that we wouldn't want to do it, because once you get the opportunity, then
For sure.
you'll be able to you know, broaden your horizons and see things differently. And,
Right.
And want to crave different things like that, you know. But as far as like being from the city and then getting dumped off into the middle of nowhere, like if you don't have any water on your back, you ain't drinking. You got to hike like 4 hours to a store or something crazy, you know? So
Yeah,
it's like, It's different. You probably like might pass a stream or like a little waterfall. You'll stop and drink that. And it's like, what? Like, people in the city be like, you're bugging, bro. I would never do that.
It is shock therapy, and it is culture shock for people who are raised in the city to kind of go out into the woods. There are people that just can't do it.
Definitely. They'll be
You know what I
afraid
mean?
again,
Like-
because you got to fend for yourself for real.
Being in the woods is an experience, and not everyone's built like that. Not everyone can kind of put up a tent
Nah.
and kind of do that.
That's a whole different aspect. Like you said, when you put up a tent, what's that? You just put up your home. You know what I'm saying? Like, people ain't ready for that. They just want to go home, lay down, and just not have to deal with any extras. You know what I mean?
I think it might be hunting and killing and kind of cutting your own food.
That'll be the
It is
breaking
where-
point.
That might be where we get into a tricky point where, you know, I got to kill it, I got to skin it.
And you outside, it's cold,
Yeah.
you got to make your own clothes too. See, that's the whole aspect. It's all together. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's like little things like that. If you stuck out there, you ain't got a needle and you ain't got something with you, you could just be stuck.
Real native mode.
So it's respect the natives because they're really out there doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like by hand daily. And so
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
I definitely got to salute them. And we out there, it kind of feels the same way when you're in the hood because you have such minimal. You know what I mean? You don't have a lot. So it's
Right.
like you're out there like
Right.
trying to make it work. So that's why you could kind of relate to how the natives had to put it together when I look at it.
Yeah, it's funny when you say it, especially regarding into fashion, how you know, Native Americans put things together, whether it be art, culture, dance, minimalist.
Remember everything.
Yeah.
So remember, it's a lost trade as well because if you go down maybe 20 years, almost every woman knew how to sew. Men knew how to hem their pants and things like that, of that nature. So it's like
there is that misnomer, right?
now we don't even have that. That's like home ec that they don't have in school and stuff like that they don't teach us now. Basic human skills that we
Yeah, in
need.
high school I kind of bypassed that. And shout out to my grandmother, you know, she taught me how to sew. It's like, listen, you got a hole. You know, lace that up. Come
It's
on.
real, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and also that'll help you bring different flair to it too, because you know, older stuff like now, vintage is big. You know what I'm saying? You want to make that item last. You gotta learn how to, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, putting a
Send
thread
hole or-
putting a thread through a needle. Shout out to anybody who got the eyes.
Yo, it took
to
me a
put
while. It
thread
took me a
through
while.
needle.
I can
Oh,
deny you.
my
But what you get it
gosh.
is nothing. It seems really crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. The first time I did, I was like, no, I'm just gonna have people sew for me. I'm not even gonna try that.
Yeah.
But then it's, you know, it's also therapeutic. You know what I mean? When
Right.
you're sewing. So it's, and then you're getting your ideas out. And once you're creative, if you have an idea, that you can't rest until it's done, you know?
Give people maybe a clear-cut understanding, you know, as a fashion designer, I guess I apply it to being an artist. The grind and the pain is real,
Definitely.
right? You're putting a lot into it. So I apply it the same way into fashion. We're not talking about a fly-by-night person that's doing, you know, BS plastic prints. We're talking about an individual like yourself who's creating. It's a brand. There's a culture behind it. But explain to people how complicated and how much of a labor of love this really is.
Well, first off, you have to figure out how you want to do it. There's so many angles. Like you said, people could just do like a simple DTF, which is direct to foil, is basically a heat press. And that's really cheap way, but that's the most economic way if you're trying to do something quick and easy. But there's so many different facets. And even if you want to do, let's say silkscreen, you want to do it by yourself and stuff like that, it's a dirty process, you know? If you want to how can you say, you want to buy blanks and just put your little
Right.
logos on there, or
Right.
you want to make it yourself, get a seamstress, then you got to get patterns, you got to get materials, you got to get fabrics, you got to get
See, there you
finishes,
go.
buttons.
You start getting into that, and I think that's the language where people don't understand that there's layers and depth to, all, fashion, whether it be denim. There's different types of denim.
Oh,
There's
no.
people don't realize this, man. You want to give people a clear understanding also, not only about the labor of love, but what is like the real inspiration behind you getting into this career and this craft, and what's the real, the essence behind that?
All right, well, when I was first, coming up and where I live in Brooklyn, it was all about fashion. So once I was like seeing how deep it was, I felt I got a love for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I want to say shout out to Prance Lowe. He was on a stoop,
All right.
rocking out, and I seen how they put the layers together, and I was like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Right.
And I was like, yo,
Original low heads.
I could bring this to a different level, like.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I was still premature. I wasn't thinking about making clothes. I was just thinking about how could I style things.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there, I started thinking about, okay, I want to make something like, it's crazy because it started from smoking. I always had a problem with my cigars. I'm like, where am I going to put my cigar at? Because it's breaking.
Mm.
So I was like, I'm going to make a T-shirt that's a crush-proof pocket.
Crush-proof pocket.
And I came up with it was Cigar Bar Classics. If anybody got one out there, you know what it is. If you pop up to the pop-ups.
Shout out to the collectibles
or you
and
check
the
it out,
pop-ups, of
you'll
course.
see, you know what I'm saying? I keep a couple of those pieces around.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a little pocket that's on the side that holds the cigar no matter what size it is. We used to customize them. And from there, I figured, you know what? I think I could do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So from there, I did a couple things, but I didn't take it to the level where I'm at now where I learned how to sew. So now I add a little bit of Josh Masterson in every piece that I do.
Yeah. And again, just to bring it full circle, there are a lot of people out there who are copycat clones. They say that they're a fashion designer, but they're really just hustling T-shirts. Fly by night type vibes.
And sweatsuits.
Correct.
No disrespect, dude.
No.
I ain't knocking
Yeah,
nobody's
no,
house.
no,
Do your
no
thing,
knock
but
on anyone. I hear.
know-
I understand the
know
flip.
who you are. Know your
I
role.
get it. I understand the flip, but not everyone is really cut from the cloth that was out here boosting, was out here walking the Ville, was out here like, in and out of these stores. And there's a handful of people, from the 90s to now that I think they're doing good things. And again, I bring you up because I need for the people to support the kid. I need for people to see Earth Pioneers. There's a good storyline behind it. There's a good history behind it. And again, I really think and I love when I see a lot more black and brown people rock climbing, going bouldering out here in Brooklyn. I think more people need to be in tune to the outdoors, however they may do it.
Definitely, you should be into the outdoors because it's a different type of energy. It's just like when you're looking at your phone or like you're looking at a bunch of likes and you get that endorphin when you're out there in the woods and you're hiking and you're conquering different things because you're climbing, you're staying out there late, like, you know what I'm saying? You're conquering fears.
Yeah.
You're experiencing things that you would never think you would experience. You're seeing nature, such beauty that you only see in pictures and movies, and once you really get a taste of it, you'll definitely appreciate life on a different level.
And again, people are gonna check it out. They're gonna see it. I think they're gonna see the symbolisms. They're gonna see the Indian heads. They're gonna see the spears. They're gonna see the colors popping. My brother is grinding. And with that being said, I really wanted to highlight that when I say grinding out here in New York, I think people understand that the pop-up game in New York in the last 5 years is real. An independent artist, whether you be a chef, whether you be a clothing designer or an artist, you could really grind with the pop-ups. And Earth Pioneers, credit to my brother right here, has been grinding with these pop-ups.
Definitely.
That is, tell the people that's hard, man.
Big shout out to all the venues that's, you know what I'm saying, giving us the space.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shout out to Urban Vegan Kitchen
No
out
doubt.
there and Urban Vegan Roots in Queens, providing us a space. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
my
Big
brother's
shout
a vegan also, by the way. I guess
Earth, baby,
come on, this guy. I guess that's a whole different convo also, right? Just being a vegan.
Yeah, well, you know, it's crazy because once I got really deep into the clothing and into my whole, you know what I'm saying, love for the natives, I started going into being a vegan and stuff like that. So it's like we don't eat the homies.
Yeah, yo, that's that's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they help us. Everything helps us as far as like animals and
And
like
truth be said, I think you know, even in the sense of business, there's a sense of shared market. You know, that vegan market and also the outdoors market, whether they be the beachgoers or the rock climbers, or they kind of share that like-minded of health is wealth and eating right. And
listen, man, at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? You want to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to breathe good.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to do all these things. You want to surf. You want to whatever you like to
Right.
do. You know what I'm saying? You want to rock climb.
Mm-hmm.
You want to whatever you want to do. Parasail,
yeah.
whatever you into. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You gotta. What is it? The only way you could do this is if you're healthy.
Yeah,
So it's all
yeah.
about health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's first and foremost. You know.
The health is wealth, man.
Yeah, man.
And with health is wealth being said, I want to tell the people, you know, I've been trying to encourage my brother with the Earth Pioneers brand, maybe even getting a team together to accomplish this Appalachia Trail, because I don't think people realize how complicated of a
It
task.
takes months to do the Appalachian
listen.
Trail because if people really know, you know, it starts. Well,
For those that
either
go
way, like,
hiking
from
and for
Georgia
those
to
that
Maine,
know.
it's like sick, bro.
For
It's
those that know,
serious.
that's a 6-month, 5-month mission.
And you can only do it in certain months because of the rain
Because
and
of the
things
rain.
like that. It's a strategic and it's very enduring. It's a
What?
serious.
The Trail Angels.
But you already know if we do that, we're gonna have the Trail Angels.
The Trail
Salute-
Angels.
Salute to my man Sane. You already know Crafted Guard. We're gonna be out here. If we're gonna do that, we gotta have a whole setup. Like, you know, we gotta get a team.
That's you. When you're gonna creep up into the mountains,
And we'll have it, or everybody's wearing Earth Pioneers too. You already know.
you're gonna be in the middle, of the mountains of like Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina.
Yep.
That could be spooky stuff.
That terrain.
2 in
is
the
crazy.
morning, 3 in the morning.
That terrain is no joke, man. And then they got some hillbillies out there that they haven't seen light in a
And
while.
and the media doesn't report the amount of people that go missing on the
come on.
Appalachian Trail.
Listen. There's
Hiking.
so many, hiking period.
Hiking period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's unforgiving nature too. You know, that's why you got to respect your surroundings. Man.
And off camera, we were saying off camera, why would you go hiking by yourself?
No, that's wild. To
Right?
Me, that's
What's going on? What are we really doing right now? We're going hiking by ourselves. It's expected problems to happen.
exactly. You want to have as much eyes around as you can and help. Just in
Credit
case
to the
something
people
happens.
that do it, because I would be shook daddy.
Salute to the man versus wild guys out there.
What?
I ain't with it though. I'm
What?
trying to bring a team with me. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna do it one day, man. Before I get too old that I can't even get up halfway of the hill.
We're gonna make it work.
We're gonna make it work. So listen, with that being said, Dave, I wanted to pull up a vid of maybe some of the pop-ups, some little mashups of what he's been doing. He's been super busy, and if you could do it in New York, you could do it anywhere. It's the most complicated, niched market, I think, in the universe. Everyone is a fashion critic.
Facts.
Everyone in New York has an opinion, whether it be sports, whether it be fashion or music. It is what it is in New York. Everyone's a rapper. Everyone's a DJ. Everyone's a hustler out here in New York.
Everybody's a creative, man.
Yeah, for sure,
Until
for
it's
sure.
time to create, show your creations.
For sure. So shout out to Earth Pioneers. Shout out to Brooklyn Beacon. Yeah.
Shout out to everybody supporting Earth Pioneers. Appreciate y'all on the next level.
And I think New York is getting back to that spirit of like supporting New York,
Which is beautiful.
right? Which is how it really should be.
Because we support everybody, so we need that back,
And it is good when you could do a pop-up and you could have 100 people come out, 200 people come out and support.
Definitely. And I wanna shout out Staten Island. In Long Island, I haven't had any pop-ups there. Anybody want to host an event with me, let me know. You know, I touched the whole city except for there so far, so get at me. And this is from an event, as you can see, this is in Brooklyn.
Yeah, this is at Brooklyn Beacon.
That was done in December.
And it's good to have a home base also where people can actually walk into a storefront, get merch.
Definitely.
You know, I think the younger consumer is so used to just doing everything digital, you know, QR code based, that they lost the essence of digging for merch, whether it even be digging for vinyls,
or finding
digging for vintage.
Because sometimes, like, when you go to a store, let's say, because when you go online, they have just their top items or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you might go to the store and you find something that's on sale or something that was like a one of, or somebody returned it,
Right.
or something like that. And you're like, oh, look at this piece. But if you just order it online, you're never gonna have that feeling. So
I'm true to what I believe, bro. I really think like my daughter's generation on will never experience or really know the shopping feel.
Yeah.
You know, like going to the mall, shopping. You know, like that's gonna be a loss.
Spending hours is just picking out gear and stuff like
now
that.
Now they'll spend hours on the phone, shop. They have the model. Everything is 3D digital.
It's all like the click.
Oh my gosh!
I'm trying to get people back into community buying and having that relationship.
Absolutely.
With the designer and with the sales team, because to meet the designer is different when it's a nice little boutique like that where you could interact with them and stuff like that. I feel like it gives you.
And New York is all about that. That boutique retro. That's New York. And and again, we've said this off camera. I think a lot of people have lost the art of retro. Like not everything that's from a certain era really has high quality value, right?
Yeah.
And trust me, it's good. It's good to see that people in my era and people in my timeline are making money from retro shit. You know what I mean? Like, it goes back to what we were saying, the art of digging, man.
Well, not retro, but vintage. Because remember, there's a difference between retro and vintage. Yeah. Retro is something that came
Speaking
back.
of vintage, so you say vintage. Dave, pull up one or two of vintage clips that we got. And I'm going to have my brother give some content and reviews back before I get him out of here. So, with that being said, because you said retro and vintage, and it's
two different things.
There is two different things, right?
Yeah. So retro is something that is more like something that they brought back from like an old design that got brought back would be retro.
Right.
Vintage is when it's the original.
Right.
It's vintage.
Right.
So like right here.
So good time
this
to kind of
vintage footage.
Yeah, this is real vintage footage.
Yeah, big shout out once again to Prince Loan on.
Yo, shout out to all the real that know. Shout out to all the OG Flatbush heads. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to old school dancers. Real low heads know
shout
what's
out
up.
to people
son.
that know how to dance without a choreographer.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean, let's get to that.
Let's get to that. These brothers, if you don't know, it ain't made for you, but these brothers, this is monumental. You know what I mean? This Wrecking Shop documentary, this is crazy.
When was this, like 92?
93? Yeah, this is...
Yeah,
shout out to the Mop Tops.
Shout out to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
always
this is vintage
doing
Brooklyn,
the damn
man.
thing.
Even in the clubs, don't you feel like the 90s in the clubs, everyone just was fresh, right?
Yeah, you had to be, bro. It's like, remember, it was a different crowd because there was just a select few that know how to get down and get fresh.
Right.
You didn't have everybody trying to be fresh. Right now, everybody's trying to be dope, and everybody wants to be that it person.
Right.
Back then, you only had a select few.
But again, correct what he's saying. See, hip hop and this culture, it was a very limited, like, selected few that are in this world.
A lot of people couldn't even go into these clubs. They were scared to death.
That's a fact, Jack.
It was a different kind of energy back then.
Yeah, that's a fact. Bro, this is vintage New York. And it's amazing to see pop artists take this underground culture. They make it their own. They paint it. They doll it up. They get some choreography and they do something else, right? It's the same thing with fashion.
You already know.
Because
nothing is new under the sun. It's just all
because
about
we both know, whether it be Hilfiger, Polo, I think a lot of our urban brothers have definitely made it pop.
Well, that's without a doubt. All these big brands would have
never
lasted how long they are if they didn't get that street influence or
because I gotta admit,
influence. Because right now, what are they going to do right now? They're all looking for urban people to influence their brands.
Ralph Lauren, for what it is, look at my brother right now, murdering it rubber band, murdering it with the old school Ralph Lauren sweatshirt. So it's a good segue. Like, black and brown people had this infatuation of just looking fresh to death, even if we're broke.
That's a fact.
Big fact, no gimmick, right? But I always wondered, and I bring it up to you, why is it that we don't support our own?
Well, that's a trivial subject. Some will say that they don't want other people to shine, so they try to dull somebody else. But at the end of the day, if you got real peoples, everybody wants. They know if you shine, they're gonna shine too.
Right.
So you gotta look at it as, like I said, a collective. You can't look at it as so individual. Especially back then, it was real individual. People used to hang out in cliques and stuff, but it was real individual. Like, you felt like you had to stand your own, and like right now, it's even more. It's so individual now that it's become a little narcissistic. So it's different. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, so that's another thing is that we could say that, like, we've been focused to be like a little bit narcissist as far as us being, in the hood and stuff like that, and just period now with all the devices and all that, always look at me mentality. So now you got to think about it, how that's gonna transmit into your everyday and stuff. So
don't you find it crazy in the era that we came up that a lot of the same fashion brands have now become relevant again?
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, because we're the ones that kept it going. Like, nothing else. You brought up Ralph Lauren.
Whether it be Avarex. I see everyone in Avarexes now.
Yeah,
DKNY, Ralph,
New Balance.
From
back in the days, we used to rock that too, all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's also a revival. Like, everything's 360.
Mm-hmm.
Baggy stuff coming back. We started rocking stuff a little more tailored. It's just, it's all about the evolution of the times and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean?
And people that lived it would know, like, mid-90s is when hip-hop really got turned on to that real big brands, the Versace's, the Moschino's, the bigger brands.
The biggest brands we was really rocking, Gucci was always, our favorite band of hip-hop. Fendi, LV, all those were...
That's
Ralph
a
Lauren,
fact.
of course. All those was a part of that. But then, like you said, when you're talking about more like European brands, like Moschino started coming into it. You know what I mean? And
Biggie, J, like that early '90s. Like that was just like we was on that. Medusa heads.
Yep, and we was in the hood doing it too. That's what was. So
that's
crazy.
What makes it ironic, right?
Like, you would see dudes with like, $500 shirts back then was a lot. Like, now it's different, but
I'm in the hood with $1,000 Evisu jeans on,
and you don't even you know what I'm saying. You paid the only bill you got.
What's the mathematics on this right now?
Is your phone bill. So you're just doing your thing. You out here wilding.
That's and that's the key, I think, for people that are not from New York, is that regardless of the class and the status in New York, we get fresh to death.
No matter what, because
that's
at the end of the day, too, if you wasn't doing it, you know what I mean, out there making it happen with the boosting, you knew somebody.
Yeah.
So there was always somebody selling something too, especially at the barbershops and things like that. It would just pop up and be like, "Yo, I got these jeans. They're like $1,000 for. I'll give you 2 for $50." Like, what?
So
like,
for all you non-90s heads that don't know the lingo, when we say boosting, what are we talking about?
What are you talking about? Acquiring goods without paying.
Pretty much. And that's an art form and a skill that probably doesn't even exist anymore.
No, that's a whole nother.
That's a
chapter.
whole nother,
Yeah.
knowing how to live off the land is a
That's
whole
another.
nother
See,
skill.
like the natives, if
Yeah.
you will. That's all a part of it too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You learn these things.
Yeah. Dave, I think we got one more OG old school clip that I was gonna show my brother. You could even pull up the brands. So before I put this up, I'm curious to know any of your favorite brands coming up. Don't play it yet, Dave. Any of your favorite
Oh, when I was coming up,
yeah, just any particular brands that
I would say I always go to Eddie Bauer. I love
Eddie
Bauer.
Eddie Bauer's always dope. Yeah.
He had a
Especially the store, the one downtown. We used to love boosting there.
and he had
on Prince.
the sports shop, that Eddie
Racking
Bauer
crazy.
sports shop that was different from the rest of Eddie Bauer because it was more outdoorsy.
Yeah.
So that got me really into like liking outdoors.
And
more.
again, growing up in the projects in Marlboro, trust me, we looked bananas wearing LL Beam and Eddie Bauer. Like they'd be like, "What?
Listen,
What's going on?"
even now, if I walking around with rain boots, like leather going almost up to
Yeah, man.
to half calf, like it's different though. When you have style and stuff like that, you put things.
I
together
love it. You
differently,
could have $2 in your pocket,
You're gonna make it work.
but still look like $1 million. That's the moral of the story. So with that being said, just some influential designers of the decade, and
it.
we'll throw it. You give some commentary, and we'll take it from there.
Let's rock.
Which I already know is going to
graphic
be.
streetwear, Nike collaborations, and dynamic runways have drawn acclaim with designer Jun Takahashi. Covetable
man,
mass
that
store
was
graphic
nice.
T-shirts, submersive statement outerwear, and plentiful collaborations.
I know
ranging
of it.
from Vans and Levi's to Supreme and Skolop.
But
Takahashi created John Undercover and Sue Undercover sub-labels in 2013 as more conventional for men and
he's
women.
crushing it. Just doing mad collabos.
His collabs is fire.
Love him or hate him, Hedi Slimane is both a lightning rod for criticism and an uber successful
See, this is
menswear
like
designer,
super
with
duper.
legions of men flocking to each brand he reshapes in his image.
Wow, Euro.
Slimane kicked off an immensely influential tenure.
Yeah,
at
you know,
Yves
this is a
Saint Laurent.
different type of
The shift yielded slim double
fashion.
pocket rider
I'm not mad at the
Yeah, that crazy outfit
the
was
motorcycle
bananas.
jackets.
In 2018,
That was
Slimane was the director
bananas.
of
The rest of the stuff
thus
is not
beginning
my,
his
my,
revision
my
of a
wave.
cult favorite label.
That's also big now too, right? A lot of collaborations.
Oh, yeah,
that's
beautiful though because it is allowing other people to shine in ways that they would never be able to if they didn't have that collaboration. You know?
Yeah, for
It
sure.
gives them a bigger voice, a better platform.
What any current? That's the thing about fashion. Sometimes things drop and they have so much value because of the collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
Any
He killed Gucci.
Yeah.
Did amazing Gucci.
the fabric looks crazy.
He actually revitalized Gucci. Gucci's going down after he left.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was very super fat.
Gucci's hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There's certain things that look amazing, and there's certain things that are like.
Over the course of her decade,
It's not for me. I don't do
Yeah,
GG,
man.
But I can see how people like it.
When she elected to include
But any collabos, any designer collabos that you think, especially in the urban market, that you thought were amazing.
Urban collabos, I would say I like the way Bodega is doing their collabs with New Balance. They're doing some real good stuff. As far as like, I think they just showed, I think it's Neighborhood. Yeah, Neighborhood. They're a Japanese brand. They do a lot of good collabs as well.
Japanese are really known for the denim, right?
Oh yeah, because of the indigo dye, the dip dye that they do
The
is
indigo
what they're known
dye.
for. And also,
I don't know anything about the indigo dye. What is the indigo dye?
indigo is the type of denim. When you see that dark denim that bleeds and stuff like that, that's indigo denim. And it's a certain way that they dye it to get it that way.
Super dope.
That they only do in Japan. And they also they're known for their salvage denim because they bought all the old Levi looms from like 1800s they have in Japan now, and they utilize those.
Yeah.
So it weaves the denim differently and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
Like we said, all the old stuff is better for the quality. Like right now, we got these Shane and what else? All this, I don't know. All this microwave brands that, you know what I mean? Like they just buy to go out to the club and stuff like that. Like I could never get into that. Like I'm all about sustainability and clothes that's going to transcend the trend. I'm not about trends.
How do you? It's funny you say trends. So how do you feel when I say Euro brands and a lot of this? How do you feel about a lot of the younger designers, especially European dominant? How do you feel about where we are with fashion? I see Virgil.
Right now,
Shout out to Virgil, man. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But where do you think we are right now with fashion?
Right now, fashion is in a beautiful space and it's in a sad space at the same time, only because of all of, like I said, they got this microwave stuff. There's a lot of people that think they're designers because they bought a Cricut and stuff like that. They got a little idea that they got in their head. But again, it's all about telling a story. For me, Tom Ford said it. He was like, if you don't have a story to tell, you're never going to be able to continue in your brand. So you have to look at it like, remember, you're designing for like a mythical person at the end of the day.
It's good. It's also good if you've noticed from when we were young. It's good to see a lot more black and brown people in the hood jumping out of their box and exploring their fashion palette.
Definitely.
Like I definitely see a lot more black brown people in Bed-Stuy, in East New York, in Bushwick, in Crown Heights that have amazing fashion taste.
Definitely.
My people, if you've never ridden the New York City subway, that is the fashion mecca. You will see some high-end fashionistas on a train.
That's true fact. New York, we're the capital of fashion.
Yeah, man.
You got all the other spots that talk real hot, but New York is where it's at.
Yeah, man.
Can't deny it.
Anything? So what else are we working on, man? We got
I got some pop-ups coming up, in the future. Hopefully, I'll be back in Chinatown in April, and I'm gonna be in Brooklyn as well. So I should be having 2 pop-ups. Check me out on Instagram, Earth Pioneers. We'll be showing when we got stuff coming out, and also just hit me up if you see something, but you only seen it on you seen it at a pop-up, or if you just see me like post it once or something. Let me know. I'm definitely always there to let you know what it is. I could drop it off and kick it with you and let you know, have a fitting and all that, or I could ship it. Just let me know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely
Dave, pull up that picture. That go up. Brand. Dave, pull up. Pull up that third picture. Bouldering. Yeah, click that. And this is a great example of what I'm talking about. People is that. Urban America, black and brown people. I want companies to understand is that. We just don't like hip hop.
No, we
dabble in a million other different things.
Exactly, we multiverse.
And I think Earth Pioneers and this whole outdoor movement that we bring into the table is gonna ring bells, and we're gonna catch people, we're gonna wake people up, we're gonna educate people, and that's what it's about, man.
Definitely from every aspect. You know what I mean? Earth Pioneers, we're trying to educate you on health. We want to educate you on proper ways to dress, you know what I mean? Proper ways to climb, all that.
Bouldering is a great sport. I think more people should get into it. It's a great sport.
It's actually great cardio, and it's good for your upper body strength and things and your legs, all that. So actually all body workouts.
I got my daughter into it now, man. She loves it.
That's great.
She loves it. She has like no fear, especially with surfing. I think I told you in Puerto Rico, she's fearless out there with that, man.
Yeah, surfing, I haven't touched that yet.
Shout out to all my real ones in PR. You heard? Shout out to Aguadilla. But once again, my brother, I appreciate you coming up. I wanted again to give you the flowers. I know you grinding out here. I think people need, when you post something, you gave everybody the IG, but when you post it, I think people need to understand this is real New York underground culture from the root. He's grinding. It's independent. It's a labor of love. My man got beautiful prints. It's for the people, by the people, Earth Pioneers. And hopefully soon we'll have like a nice outdoor event.
Definitely.
Hit the trail.
Indeed. We got to make sure, I come back on a platform and hopefully you do a live broadcast when we having something going down, you know what I mean? So definitely people tap in, check us out. Definitely check out Cheerz to the Real. My man Tom Brody doing his thing, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you
thank you for coming up,
taking your time out and giving me this platform, allowing me to touch the people.
1,000,000%, man.
Remember, create your own path, bro. Don't let nobody stop you. It's all about you.
Listen, stop supporting the big brands, the North Face of the world, the Patagonia. Support my man, because we do it out here. We're not just wearing these labels.
Man, we out here working.
We're making sure they work. I think more people should do that. Tell me not, right? More people should buy the product. Make sure it works.
Oh, definitely, of course. And that's why we try to have you come to the pop-ups. Touch the items. Feel the product before you buy it. I'm pretty sure you'll be more enticed once you actually feel how great the fabric is and you see all the little embellishments and, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that makes it more sturdy. And it's also...
Big facts.
You know, it's also a better, I can say, engagement and interaction that you
Listen, all sports for all people. We out here. We're building Earth Pioneers. Cheers to the real Tom Brody. It's another one. Thank you for coming up, my brother.
get. Salute.
We are out of here. Cheers to the real podcast.
Yeah. That's good, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, buddy.
I wish I had a Philly right now.
You're going to have to roll up. Tom Brody.
Yeah, man, I don't do smoke. They probably got have something. They should have something.
Screaming, cheers to the real. Good vibes only. Putting in work and recipes to all the homies, yeah.